Thanks very much for being here and welcoming me, and it's great to join other platforms in this evening. I'm going to spend 6 minutes and 40 seconds essentially talking about why we picked the tagline Engagement Optimize. And really to give that some context, we put a lot of thought into it. Really, essentially, this has been the context for our work for the past 20 years or so. We have a special name for these people. They're called the STP. That stands for the same 10 people who show up today. And really, that is the context for the reason that we're really doing what we're doing, and it really motivates us. We're sort of researchers at heart. We spun out of UBC, and we asked over 200 agencies, what do you want to accomplish with improving engagement? Maximum participation, informed input, and actionable results. Those are the themes that kept coming back over and over and over. And so that's how we focused our platform. And that's why we call it Engage and Optimize, because we've essentially drilled into those themes and tried to optimize around that. I'm going to start with a few points around maximizing participation and how we've learned about techniques to maximize participation. So I'll cover 5 points. The first one is really the importance of designing for the unmotivated. There's going to be people who are positive and negative, and they differ in terms of their level of motivation. And this is really important because the least motivated people are the people who are either moderate or slightly positive. They're not fired up enough to come out and see us. The people who are fired up by anger and fear. The people who are unmotivated will spend about 5 minutes telling you what's on their minds, no more. As soon as you get asked for more than that, it starts to drop off dramatically. So that's point number 2, aiming for about a 5-minute experience and packing a great deal into that experience. The third lesson that we've learned is hitting somebody with a registration requirement eliminates about 9/10 of the audience. People, you're like this probably. You hit that and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm that interested. And these people are not very motivated. So eliminating that, if you can, really gets you a lot of benefit. Number 4, offering as many different ways of engaging as possible. Smartphones and web-based engagement is going to be about 80% of the audience, but kiosks, tablets, and electronic experiences at workshops can help you fill in a lot of the gaps in participation that you're looking at. Number 5, making it as delightful as possible. These people are hard to reach, they're hard to get motivated, so turning it from a multiple choice survey into something that's visual and graphically interesting is going to get you a lot more participation. In fact, about 7.5 times more participation compared to the traditional. The next thing I want to talk about is informed input. Packing so much quality information so you're educating the audience about the different complex choices that you have around public engagement, around your agency. And we do that in a variety of different ways and trying to make it interactive and colorful. So MetroQuest is comprised of a series of different screens, trade-off screens, visual preference surveys, priority projects, coin games where you can allocate a budget to different areas. I'm just going to focus on a few examples. I can't cover them all, but there's a whole library of screen types that you can kind of mix and match to make it interesting. This one is the scenario screen, so you can present different scenario alternatives and people can see how each one performs based on their own top priorities. Look at a visualization before they vote on how well they like that particular alternative. So you're educating people and then collecting their input. The project screen allows you to show a number of different proposed projects around the region. People can click on them to learn about them, vote if they want them or they don't want them, and being kept to a budget of a certain number of projects or a certain dollar figure down here. So they're learning about the cost of different alternatives. And speaking of budgeting, the funding balance screen allows you to and forces you to meet a certain budget. So looking at a maximum budget, using different funding mechanisms to try to balance the budget, really puts them in your shoes in terms of how to make ends meet with limited spending. The last one I'll focus on, visual preference screen. So looking at a whole bunch of different alternatives, you've heard the adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's also worth 1,000 words that somebody can read in a few seconds. So very, very powerful, getting people's opinions about different proposed alternatives very, very quickly. The last area is actionable results. And actionable results is really a formula. You need critical mass, you need diverse participation, you need trustworthy input that you can count on, and you need quantifiable results. You need to do all 4 of those things, quantity and quality, in order to pay attention, so elected officials actually pay attention. We asked a whole bunch of our clients what they got out of the software, and the most common phrase was, it gave courage to the elected officials. And that was very interesting, because it's all about making changes in your community and having the courage to do so because you've got the public's opinion behind you. I love this slide. This is actually produced by one of our clients for their presentations. They had a big budget for their project, and so they used all kinds of different techniques for public participation. In fact, 3 of the most popular online platforms, and they costed out how much does it cost to engage a person in face-to-face events compared to online. One of the things that is new for us is we're now offering MetroQuest as an all-you-can-eat platform, so you can basically set it up yourself and use it on any project, large and small. Because historically, we've been just working on one project at a time, and it's been rather expensive per project. As a result of that shift, here's just a few of the cities and agencies in Canada that we're working with, and across the US. And then there's a variety of consulting firms that are also using the platform on their projects, mostly for government agency clients. And with that, that's my 6 minutes and 40 seconds.